Cherry Cola hair color is a deep brunette with a cast of red. I'm going to show you today how to mix it up, how to apply it on a darker shade of hair and a lighter shade of hair using a filler. The colors we're using today, 4N and 4RV. These are by Ion and they're liquid permanent colors. You can do this with demi or permanent, liquid or cream. They didn't have these in demi permanent, or they had them, they just weren't available at the store. That would be my first choice over permanent, especially doing a darker color like this. Level 4 is here. Level 1 is black. Permanent hair color, when it's dark, it's very hard to lighten out. If you want to, let's say, add highlights in at a later date, it's going to be a lot easier and less damaging for your hair to use a demi-permanent color if you decide you want to change your hair color later on. But remember, demi-permanent hair color does not cover gray. It does gray blending, so if you need to cover gray, you're going to use permanent. We're going to end up mixing these in equal parts. So the first one is 4N. So this means it's a level 4. Looking at how light or dark it is, 1 being black, 10 being brightest blonde, it's a level 4. So it's considered a darker hair color. 4N with your 4RV, again, level 4. Your N is natural or neutral. When you divide the color wheel down the middle here, you're gonna have cool colors and you're gonna have warm colors. In natural or neutral is a nice balance in the middle. It's not dominant in warm tones and it's not dominant in cool tones. It's just a dark neutral brown. The next color, the RV, is red violet, and that's going to be here. So it's a dark brown hair color with red and violet tones, and it's here on a swatch. So the reason you wouldn't want to use just this straight RV is because it is very pigmented. It has a lot of red, a lot of violet. So that's why we're adding in this 4N. These are mixed in equal parts. In whatever unit of measurement you want to measure this in, you could do 1 ounce of 4N plus 1 ounce of 4RV, 1 gram of 4N, 1 gram of 4RV, 1 tablespoon 4N, 1 tablespoon of 4RV. Whatever you decide to use, it's just equal parts. I'm gonna be using 1 ounce of each color, and that's where this line is. 1 bottle is 2 ounces, so it would be half a bottle. This is the RV. You can see it has a red tint. If you're using liquid, you can use a bowl or a bottle. This is the 4N, the neutral. If you wanted this to be more of a neutral color, you're obviously going to change the formula and add more in the formula. So if we have 1 ounce of 4N, 1 ounce of 4RV, this is 2 ounces. And the ratio for this in the directions is 1 to 1. The first number represents how much color, the second number represents how much developer. So it's saying it's equal parts. So if I use 2 ounces of color, I'm going to use 2 ounces of developer. 10 volume for me because we're depositing. 2 ounces is this line here. If you have gray that you would like to cover, you're gonna wanna use 20 volume, but just keep in mind, it will make the hair color look more red. So you may want to add less 4RV and more 4N. This particular formula, and it doesn't have to be used with this brand, it's pretty universal. You could use it with Redken, Wella, your preference, but it's gonna work best on hair that is levels 4 through 6. 4, 5, and 6. Beyond 6, you're really gonna need a filler, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But if you have hair that is level 2, it's not going to do much. It may cast a small reddish tone or tint, but color does not lift color. So if your hair is level 2, almost black, and you use this formula, it will not lift it up to a level 4. You would have to pre-lighten your hair first in order to get that level 4. We're gonna mix this up really well, and if you're using liquid, it is less messier if you use an applicator bottle versus this. When you color your hair dark, the hairline tends to look like Frankenstein almost, that we want to try to avoid that. You can use Vaseline around the hairline. You don't want to get it on the hair, you're just putting it on the skin. And I'm just going to color this darker section of her. She's got some blonde pieces, it'll be okay. It won't turn that green murky color because it's got red in the formula, so it's going to prevent that green from showing up. If you take lighter hair and color it darker, yellow hair, blonde hair, darker colors are made with blue. A lot of times you're going to get green because you're missing that primary. You have to have a combination of all 3 primaries to make a balanced hair color. So a lot of times you'll get green or a murky, ashy, muddy khaki color if you don't add in red to the formula. Because this color is 4RV, it's gonna take care of that, but if you have super blonde hair, you're gonna wanna do the filler that we're gonna do in a minute. The application for this is very simple. You're gonna take very thin subsections. You should be able to see or read through this, and make sure you're wearing a cape or an old shirt. Directly on the root, bringing it down to the ends. Because they're so thin, everything should saturate pretty evenly. If you take thick, huge sections, the color may be splotchy and may not penetrate through the end. Stay away from that metal clip. When hair coloring, bleaching, you don't want to clip it up with anything metal. It interacts with the hair color. You want to use plastic if you're going to clip up the actual hair color. It's better to take super thin subsections and just do it right the first time versus trying to get this done as quick as possible. Run your fingers through it. The liquid hair color is going to spread a lot better than the cream hair color, but it is going to be very messy, especially if you're not using a bottle and you're doing a brush like this. And this is going on dry hair. And you can start at the top like I am or at the bottom. I just like to start at the top. That way hair color isn't getting all over here on the cape or on their clothes or the towel. Processing time for this is 25 to 35 minutes, it says. If you want to comb through this, you can. I typically don't if I'm using permanent cream hair color because it's a lot thicker. You don't want to snag the hair. But with liquid color and demi-permanent color, it's really easy to comb through. So if you want to take a comb through it, you can. And at this point, if you see that you have any stains on your skin, this is where you would want to wipe them off because they're only going to get darker. You can put a cap over this if you want, no heat. If you put heat on this, the color is going to liquefy and it's gonna run all over your skin. Now we're gonna do the same formula, but on super blonde hair. You could apply this formula on her because it has so much red, but the results may be a little, what's the word? Pinkish almost, because you're going from about a level 9 to a level 4. That's a huge jump for hair color. It needs something in the middle for it to hang on to. So a color before the color, if that makes sense. One of my favorite colors to use as an in-between color is XMONDO, or a filler color. This is berry. It's a really nice wine burgundy color. So this is gonna help that 4N have something to grab onto so it doesn't leave you with that murky pinkish color. This is a semi-permanent color, meaning it's gonna slowly fade out each time we shampoo it. And I would highly recommend to use a semi-permanent hair color for this filler step. You don't wanna compact permanent color over permanent color over permanent color because that tends to make hair color look darker. So it may make this level 4 really look like a level 3 if we keep compacting color over color over color. An alternative to XMONDO or any pigment, you could take the middle number. So if we're at a 9 and we want to be at a 4, we could take the middle number, which is about a 6R. You could apply 6R over that, or not over that, before that. And I like to apply this on damp towel dried hair. So this is a 2-step process. It does take a lot of time. Fillers are basically coloring the hair twice. I'll apply the color without a filler on this bang area so you can see the difference. Going in with the barrier cream or the redneck barrier cream, Vaseline. This XMONDO color you do not mix with anything. It is what it is in this jar. And just like the other color, very thin subsections, root to end. Taking your time. It is super thick, and that's why I dampen it just a little bit to help it spread. You wanna make sure that this color, this filler color, is completely saturated, because if you have spots, it's going to make your final hair color have spots, look lighter in some parts. This XMONDO color, we're not gonna let it process the full time, maybe 10, 15 minutes. It doesn't need to be true to color or true to swatch. It just needs to have that pigment, that red pigment, to allow the color to stick. And that goes with any filler color you're using. Orange is also a really nice filler to use. I like to use orange a lot of times, like super bright orange. That just helps hair color have more of a natural warmth versus red warmth, using more of the coppery colors. On this side, we're gonna apply the straight up hair color, the 4N 4RV with no filler. Same method, super thin subsections, dry hair, or same method as the first one, the darker one. So we're not going to dampen the hair like we did with the filler, the XMONDO. I'm just outlining the quad and taking super thin subsections, coloring root to end. For this filler part, it's been about 15 minutes. The XMONDO color, I'm not gonna shampoo this out. I'm just gonna rinse it really well with cool water until the water is almost clear. After we rinse the filler out, we are going to have to blow dry it again because the permanent hair color needs to be on dry hair. So again, this goes back to this being a pretty long process, but it's really gonna help the hair color look more vibrant and stay longer. And this one is the permanent hair color on the darker shade of hair. No filler. You will shampoo this out. Rinse it really well. Lukewarm water. This is probably too hot. I can feel it. You'll want to wear gloves because it'll still stain your hands at this point. And then once the water is pretty much running clear, go through and shampoo it really well and condition. Here's the filler color after it's dry. So you'll just go in, same thing, apply the color. I'm gonna outline this again, really thin subsections. This is the same permanent hair color, root to ends. And we're gonna let this process for 35 minutes. And then we can use shampoo and conditioner. Before we just rinse the color, the semi-permanent color, but permanent color needs to be shampooed out. And you'll wanna make sure that this is colored. It's gonna be kind of tricky because this is already kind of dark. So taking really thin subsections is important. Going side to side, make sure everything is saturated. So I will finish these up, dry them. Here's the color that was on the darker canvas. It's a nice dark rich color with hints of cherry in the light, and it's actually pretty cloudy outside, so it's not the best example, but here it is in natural light. And excuse these bangs. Here's the color that we did on the blonde canvas, the level 9. In some parts it looks fine, but you can see, we've only shampooed it once. It already has a pretty mousy color, and this is just gonna keep fading and fading. Even though it's permanent hair color, there's nothing for it to grab onto. You're going from very light to very dark. You need something in the middle. The side with the filler is a richer color. It's going to look closer to the one we did on the darker canvas. Just so pretty, look at this. I hope you can see what I'm seeing, where it's a nice brown with hints of that cherry. Such a pretty color.